The castle of Monselice, unlike other medieval buildings present in Italy, cannot be identified with an individual and well-delineated construction, but with a series of buildings that form the apical tip of a formidable defensive system involving the whole town. The origins of the fortified settlement date back to the period between the Gothic War and the subsequent Longobards War, when people settled the hill, fortifying it to defend themselves from attacks. In 1237, Monselice managed to win the Emperor Frederick II of Swabia's favor, welcoming his representative, Ezzelino III da Romano. He carried out a major military enhancement plan of the hill and the castle, adding to the structure the massive Torre Ezzeliniana. In the years between the 13th and 14th centuries, the city was alternately under the control of the lords of Verona, the Scaligeri, and the Carraresi of Padua. During this period, many castle halls were divided into smaller areas for residential use. During the following Venetian domination, the castle lost its military importance, so that in 1406, the patrician family of the Marcellos, owner of the part of the hill including the castle, built the homonymous palace, turning the military complex into a civilian residence. At the beginning of the 19th century, it was home to some of the local aristocratic families, who unfortunately contributed to the slow decline of the manor, especially when the Italian army during World War I detained it for military use, leaving it in 1919 entirely devastated and plundered of all its treasures. In 1935, the castle was inherited by the Cini family, and Earl Vittorio was the author of its restoration, completed in 1942. The structure was brought to new life and then decorated with furniture, objects, tapestries and frescoes dating back to the construction periods of the single buildings that compose it. The architectural complex consists of four main structures. Crossing the access door to the Corte Grande, on the right side is the oldest habitation, composed of the Casa Romanica and the Castelletto, built between the 11th and 12th century. On the left side, the massive Torre Ezzeliniana was built in the 13th century by Ezzelino III da Romano. Originally isolated construction, 2 centuries later it was combined with the first nucleus of the Palace Ca' Marcello, elected to the summer residence of the aristocratic Venetian family. The facade facing the court is characterized by a Gothic lagoon 3-light window that refines the entire complex, and Ghibelline merlons merging it harmoniously with the adjacent tower. A short stone staircase leads to the ground floor of the Torre di Ezzelino, where the armory is located, divided into 3 rooms: the lobby or gatehouse, the great hall, and the fireplace room. All the walls are frescoed with a checkered red and white decoration, which reminds the typical colors of the coat of arms of the Carraresi, whereas the floor is made of trachyte, precious stone of volcanic origin coming from the nearby quarry. The 904-piece collection contained in these environments has a great value for its number and preservation quality. The wide range of naked steels, muzzles, and complete tournament and war armor, coming both from Europe and Italy, can be dated from the 14th to the 18th century. In the guardhouse, the solid and austere 15th century Venetian table catches the visitor's attention. On it you can see some crossbows, and in particular the one on the right, used for hunting, is the most valuable of the collection. In the fireplace room, the fireplace stands out with its typical tower or flute-beak shape, showing the peculiarity of hiding inside its coal, a room filled with sand that prolonged heating in the room. The third space is historically named Great Hall or Room of Arms for the considerable amount of weapons kept inside it. To access the first floor, you go up an external staircase that leads to the apartment of Marcello, which consists of 5 rooms furnished with Tuscan and Emilian furniture of the 16th and 17th centuries. The airy entrance hall on the first floor of Ca' Marcello is generously lit by an elegant 3-light window in Venetian Gothic style that emphasizes the magnificent 16th century coffered ceiling, painted with 289 animals and coming from Palazzo Peppoli in Ferrara. Particularly impressive is the cupboard of the German school, called a façade, as its decoration recalls the architectural elements of the façade of a building. On the walls there are 2 framed frescoes, the Madonna enthroned between saints and the Allegory of Fortune, both of the school of Ferrara. Crossing the hall, you enter the first floor of the Torre di Ezzelino, going along a wide hallway that serves as access to 4 rooms. Starting from the left, there is the dining room, richly furnished by the long table where the coat of arms of the Della Rovere stands, and by the fireplace decorated with a bas-relief frieze of Bartolomeo Bellano, known collaborator of Donatello. Opposite, you can see the guest room. The rigid appearance of the furniture is softened by the soft lines of the Maiolica warmer of the 18th century. Next door to the dining room is the House of Lord, where the comfortable table with all the useful tools to the study gives a pleasant sensation of relaxation and retreat. The last room of the apartment is the ladies' room, where large velvet curtains hanging on the walls were intended to thermally insulate and protect the most reserved area where the lady of the manor devoted herself to purely female activities. You then come back to the entrance hall to access the delicious Venetian courtyard. The Marcello family wanted it to resemble a small Venetian campiello with concerts and theatre performances. A series of panels depicting an orchestra of putti placed on the eastern retaining wall and the loggia, frescoed with neoclassical figures, recall this function. Climbing the double staircase, you reach a slightly inclined ramp that leads to a large attic room located on the second floor of Ca' Marcello, where the guests were greeted before being received by the family. You continue crossing the arched portal that introduces to the second floor of the Torre Zelliniana, which consists of 3 rooms: the honor hall, the room of the 2-light window, and fireplace room, all frescoed with the checkered red and white decoration by the Carraresi. The wide honor hall is embellished by a terracotta Renaissance fireplace and 4 large 17th century tapestries from Cornelius Mattens. They come from a collection of 13 pieces belonged to the Gonzaga family, entitled The Stories of Alexander the Great. In the middle of the room is the massive 16th century table belonged to the Guicciardines, as demonstrated by the coat of arms engraved on the front of its braces. The first side room is the fireplace room, for its extraordinary Carrarese fireplace with overlapping circles dating from the 14th century. The second room is known as the room of the 2-light window, for its airy Venetian window, or even of the music, as it contains some stringed musical instruments and an appreciable 17th century ivory virginal. The Castelletto consists of a tower and 2 floors. It is accessed through the Venetian campiello, coming before to a small antechamber and then in the column hall, so called due to the presence of a large column in trachyte of the 16th century. From there you access a reserved room, the Studiolo Basso, characterized by an elegant boiserie of Siena brocade. From the column hall, moreover, a narrow passage leads to the medieval kitchen that occupies the lower floor of the Casa Romanica. Curious is the 15th century fresco placed over the entrance door, depicting the Virgin who nurses with some sort of bottle called papagna. It consisted of a linen pocket filled with milk, honey and poppy seeds, very common in pageant tradition. The big kitchen with Venetian rustic-style furniture is completely covered in trachyte, but it is thought to have once had a clay floor. Noteworthy is the finish of the spin in the big inlaid cowled fireplace, which has a mechanism that allowed the shaft to rotate independently after being charged.